Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh and good day to each and everyone. So, last meeting, we have our subject for this Physics 132. We have our topics as we have already discussed our topics, okay, regarding on the basic phenomena and concept and characteristics of how to generate or how is an electricity or charges or electrons being generated and perform their effect on a certain medium, okay, or certain materials, okay, of generating electricity, okay. So we have already discussed the force and electrical potential difference between two point charges that is being existing and in a material, okay? So, yun, nakadepende sa kung ano yung ginagamit na material. Okay, ayun, we have also discussed the Coulomb's law, okay? And the difference between the Coulomb's law and the potential difference, okay? So, in here, continuing our discussion, we have to discuss the Gauss's law, no? Gauss's law is a continuation of our discussion last meeting, in which in here, we talk about the charge and its electric flux and its electric field on a certain point. Okay, so recall from our previous discussion, we have told that uh, the electric field from a certain point charge is depend on the algebraic sign of that point charge. Now, if it is positive, the electric field is coming outward from that electric charge, and if it is negative, the electric field is coming inward or coming towards that charge. Okay, so we can use that concept in here to find the electric flux of that a certain charge if we assume Gaussian surface, um, Gaussian surface that is surrounding that charge. Okay, so ibig sabihin uh, kung meron tayong electric charge, no? Electric charge, and we assume Gaussian surface, okay? We can find its electric field or electric flux using the force that is being existed on that electric charge and the algebraic quantity of that charge itself, okay? Using this equation, okay? So kung ibig sabihin, kung titingnan natin itong figure na to, meron tayong charge sa loob, which is Q, and then meron tayong test charge Q sub O, then its electric field of this Q on that Q sub O na charge is given by this equation. Okay? Yung force between them and divided by the charge of Q sub O na test. Okay? Ibig sabihin, yung electric field natin of this charge Q on that point charge Q sub O is given by this equation. Okay? Now, dito tayo sa electric flux that is being enclosed by enclosed charge. Okay? So, here, ito siya. No? So, what if yung charge natin is being enclosed by as Gaussian surface? No? Itong surface na is tinatawag natin siya as a Gaussian surface. Okay? So, in this case, no, alam naman natin that okay, kung meron tayong charge, meron tayong electric field, no? Depends on, no, as I have said kanina, depends on what algebraic sign of that particular charge, no? So, in this case, positive, so going outward, in this case, negative, going inward, okay? Since meron tayong assumption or assumed na Gaussian surface, um, ibig sabihin nun, meron tayong electric flux on that Gaussian surface. Now, the question is, what do you mean by electric flux pala? Sir, what do you mean by electric flux? Bakit pag meron tayong Gaussian surface is meron tayong electric flux? Okay, so ganito yan, no? Imagine that kung meron tayong, for example, meron tayong tube, no? Or yung ginagamit sa tubings, no? Sa pipe. Okay? Kung meron tayong certain water na nagfo-flow dyan, and at the same time, meron tayong surface na uh, inuupos niya yung direction ng ating ng water, no? So naturally, yung water na yon, kung may characteristic siya na i-penetrate yung surface na yon, so magkakaroon siya ng flux, no? So ibig sabihin, yung flux na yon is dadaloy siya doon sa surface na yon at a certain time. Okay? So ganito rin din siya dito, no? Meron tayong surface dito that surrounds that electric charges. Then yung electric field natin is dadaloyin siya outside that, going outward from that surface of Gaussian surface. Then yung rate na yon is yung tinatawag nating electric flux. Okay? Okay, so yun. So yun yung ibig sabihin ng electric flux. So ito yung summaries ng di-discuss ko, no? So just read that one. Okay? So calculating electric flux. Dito tayo sa calculating electric flux. So how can we calculate electric flux? No? So by doing the same with the flow of water, for example, no? So we can use that assumption. So kung meron tayong area, a certain area, then meron tayong certain velocity of liquid, okay? So we can find its rate of change of velocity by using this equation. So we have just to multiply the velocity, or if we ask to find the rate of flow of that fluid inside the pipe, what we can do is just to multiply the velocity and the cross-sectional area of that pipe. Okay? Now, if that pipe and or if the cross-sectional area of that pipe and the velocity of the fluid is not the same, okay? So just multiply the velocity and the cross-sectional area at the same time, multiply it by the cosine of the angle, no, between that two charges. I mean between that two direction. Okay, so in that case, makukuha muna yung dv over dt natin. Or it means that yung para makuha mo yung flow of velocity, flow of amount of natin, amount of Q natin, or amount of volume natin with respect to time, is just multiply the velocity that is perpendicular to that cross-sectional area. Okay? Or we can just have it as a dv over dt is equals to velocity that area of that cross-sectional area. Okay? So, just like this figure, no, talks about. In this case, ang ginawa lang natin is dimultiply natin yung V and A kasi nga yung direction ng area natin at saka yung direction ng ating velocity is the same. Okay? So lahat pa ganito, pa from the left to right. In this case, no, kinuha natin yung magnitude or yung component ng ating area that is being perpendicular to that uh, direction of the velocity, okay? Using this cosine phi, okay, where phi is the angle of inclination, okay, of that cross-sectional area with respect to the direction of the fluid, okay, or the velocity of the fluid. Okay, so yun. So ihalin tulad natin yun siya sa finding of the electricity, finding the electric flux of a certain charge. Okay, so ganun din, yung E natin is same as velocity. Okay, same as velocity, yung electric field of intensity natin is same as velocity, and then yung area is same as the area here. Okay, so ganun pa rin, once again, kung sa tingin nyo is yung direction ng velocity nyo at saka yung area natin is the same, you can just have this equation. Or in this case, kung the same yung ating direction ng ating electric field of intensity and the direction of the cross-sectional area is the same, you can just multiply it. Okay? So yun, same for that one here. So ganun pa rin, no? So ganun lang ibig sabihin nun. So ito siya, a summation of electric flux, no? When we have a circular Gaussian surface, so you can just use this equation. Okay, so derived quantity to siya, or derived formula, where we can find the electric flux of a certain charge when it is being surrounded by the circular Gaussian surface. Okay, or I mean spherical Gaussian surface. Okay, So, kung hindi naman siya spherical, you can just perform this integral. Okay? Depending on uh, depending on what is the, ano yun? Itsura ng ating Gaussian surface. Okay? So, yun. So, just use this equation. But anyway, most of the problem naman is circular surface, I mean spherical surface, so you can just use this equation. But if it comes to the situation where magbibigay ako ng problem na medyo may pagka hindi circular, so you can just perform this one. But anyway, madali lang naman yun siya. Just use this Q enclosed over E sub O kung ano yung ginamit. Take note that E sub O here, or tinatawag natin to siya as a permittivity, is depends on what material we have used in finding the electric flux of a certain charge. Okay? So I think that's all. If you have any question, once again, regarding this topic, you may just have to ask it to me right after this discussion para nang sa ganun is masagot natin yun siya as early as possible. Okay? So that's all. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.